What What's up, everybody? How y'all doing today? Hopefully, this is the last time for a while that you're gonna see my hair looking crazy like this. Oh man, y'all, I'm in the middle of moving again. Um, Starting a new job, talking to multiple insurers. Um, Striving constantly and fervently for the sake of Allah every day, just regardless of the challenges. I'd like to take this opportunity to pray the first prayer of the day with everybody who hasn't had the opportunity to pray. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, rabbil alameen, ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, maliki yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Amen. So I want to be abundantly clear. This morning we're learning, motherfucker. All right. Today we're reading artificial intelligence, water usage, and the real threats to humanity. The author is me, Kevin David Mail II. I am an author, insurance professional, and content creator based out of Sandusky, Ohio. Hey, check out the new Intunes drops. We just dropped the Cloud logo tee in crimson. Only $25. Contact me, Pierre or Tevin, if you want a shirt. But without further ado, I'm just gonna go ahead and get right into this. If you guys have any questions or just want to say what's up, I always pause the live briefly for anybody that was like, "Yo, what up, Kev?" or who asks the question, because I mean, I'm not just reading this. I'm not like those other lazy ass AI writers or whatever. These are my real thoughts, as well as I'm a real person that's gonna respond to you and give you knowledgeable information about like the information that I'm comfortable enough to answer questions out of my 3 a.m. sleep with. Artificial intelligence, water usage, and the real threats to humanity. Resource allocation, power concentration, and the battle for our future. By Kevin David Mail II. Erie Life and Health and Surety. Power to the people. January 2026. Let's cut through the bullshit about AI and water consumption. You've probably seen the panic posts claiming that billionaires are building data centers to suck all the water out of the ground. That's not how water works, and anyone telling you that doesn't understand basic hydrology, or they're just trying to scare you for clicks. Water doesn't disappear, but location does matter. Every drop of water that you've ever drank has been recycled through Earth's systems for billions of years now. That water that's in your glass, dinosaurs probably pissed it out at one point. That's just reality. Water goes through 3 basic phases in the cycles. It gets filtered, reprocessed, and purified to a point where you can drink it again, even if it once had impurities in it. After you use it, it re-enters the cycle. So no, we're not running out of water in the sense that it's leaving the planet, but that's not the actual problem. The water actual problem isn't about water disappearing. It's about freshwater stress in specific regions. Data centers use water for evaporative cooling. They heat water up, turn it into steam, and then use that steam to cool down the computers. In places like Amazon, Nevada, or parts of Texas already facing droughts, these facilities pull millions of gallons from local aquifers or municipal water supplies, and this creates direct competition with agriculture, residential drinking water, and local ecosystems. The water eventually returns to the cycle. but not necessarily when and where those communities need it. If you're in an inland community that's already struggling to access water, having a massive data center suck up your local water supply for generated cat videos is a legitimate problem. So here's the irony. The conspiracy theory that billionaires are sucking water out of the ground is technically wrong because the water doesn't just disappear, but functionally it's exactly what's happening, just with extra steps. They're not destroying the water, they're just making it unavailable to the people that live there and that need it the most. Same result with the Dickerson mechanism. Now, the scale is staggering. Here's where it gets real. A single large data center like the one being built across from Berardi's in town can use 3 to 5 million gallons of water per day. Google's data center used approximately 5.6 billion gallons in 2022. Microsoft's water usage increased 34% in just 1 year. And Meta's data center in Mesa, Arizona uses 1.25 million gallons per day in a region where water tables are dropping. When you have multiple facilities in water-stressed regions, this becomes a legitimate resource allocation issue. We haven't seen major droughts directly caused by AI data centers yet, but the trajectory is truly concerning. What needs to happen? Regulation. There should be limits on how many data centers can operate in drought-prone areas. I think it should be fucking zero. Or at minimum, requirements that they use closed-looped cooling systems that don't pull from municipal suppliers. Closed-loop systems recirculate the same water continuously instead of drawing fresh water and releasing steam. It costs about 15 to 20% more to build and operate. However, they reduce water consumption by up to 95%. Companies like Microsoft are starting to deploy them in water-stressed regions. It shouldn't be, but this shouldn't be voluntary. Shit like this needs to be mandatory anywhere water scarcity is an issue. Energy consumption, the bigger and much more immediate threat. If the water's usage is concerning, energy consumption is where things get fucking frightening. Data centers globally consume about 1 to 2% of worldwide electricity, or roughly 200 to 250 terawatt hours annually. Training ChatGPT-3 used approximately 1,287 megawatt hours, or roughly what 120 US homes use in a single year. A single query to ChatGPT uses 2.9 watts of 2.9 hours of electricity compared to 0.3 hours for a simple Google search. Projections suggest data could consume 8% of US power by 2030 if AI growth continues at its current rate. Real world impact. This is creating genuine infrastructure challenges. Some regions are struggling to meet demand, which has led to the reactivation of fossil fuel plants. In Virginia, Dominion Energy has brought back coal plants online to meet energy demand, the competition for power. In Ireland, data centers now consume 18% of the country's electricity, competing directly with residential and industrial needs. The grid strain. The U.S. electrical grid was designed for 20th century demand patterns. Modern data centers can draw 30 to 50 megawatt hours each, equivalent to a small city. What the grid needs. We need to update the U.S. power grid to handle AI and modern computing demands. Smart grid technology with real-time load balancing, that's an estimated $500 million investment. Expanded transmission capacity to move renewable energy from generation sites to consumption centers. And then we need to make sure that the distributed energy storage systems can handle peak demand. A timeline, it'd take about 10 to 15 years for comprehensive upgrades if we started today. And who pays? Currently unclear, with utilities, tech companies, and taxpayers all fighting over who gets the bill. This is an energy infrastructure that goes far beyond AI. Mind you, it costs $200 million to eliminate homelessness. Just like instantly. But AI is accelerating the crisis. It's important to understand everything that data centers do. They aren't just for artificial intelligence. They serve multiple purposes, such as streaming, hosting pictures, videos, text, and audio for platforms like Netflix, Apple Music, YouTube, and Substack. See what I did there? Please subscribe. Paid subscription. Cloud storage. Backing up data from your devices to remote storage so that you don't lose your photos when you drop your phone in the toilet. Gaming. Supporting online gaming infrastructure, multiplayer servers, and the videos and pictures you send to friends in these chats. And the general internet infrastructure. The backbone of how websites, email, and online services operate. AI training is simply just one use case. However, it's growing rapidly and it's particularly power intensive. It's about 3 times more energy computation than traditional cloud services. Data collection. The real concerns, not the conspiracies. You see how we've been going on for about 20 minutes plus just talking about data? Let's be clear about what's actually happening versus the conspiratorial nonsense. With anybody that's trying to scare you or just straight up lie to you, always notice that they're quick to like just move on to the next subject. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, everything's falling. Oh my God. Ask them why. Don't escalate in energy with them. Don't take their concerns serious, but just ask them why. Here's what's real. AI companies collect massive amount of data through web scraping, copying publicly available internet content, purchase data sheets, and user interactions. That training data often includes personal information scraped from the internet without explicit consent, including Reddit posts, Twitter threads, artwork, code repositories, and copywritten material. Companies aren't always transparent about what they collect or how they use it. This isn't because they're being nice. It's because transparency would reveal how much of their innovation is built on other people's work without compensation or permission. There's minimal regulation around AI data training in most jurisdictions. The EU's AI Act is the most comprehensive attempt so far, but enforcement doesn't start until later this year in 2026. AI systems can perpetuate biases present in their training data, leading to discriminatory outputs in hiring, lending, criminal justice, and healthcare applications, like BlackRock's Aladdin system. The Minority Report. When AI decides to help. The last point about bias is particularly dangerous, and it leads to something that most people aren't thinking about yet, but we've been teased about in movies for our entire lives. AI systems making decision about intervention based on their training to prevent harm. Here's how this plays out. The current reality. AI systems already flag and report users based on content. If you tell ChatGPT or Claude that you're planning to harm yourself or others, the system may refuse to respond, and depending on their platform's terms of service, they could notify authorities. OpenAI's policies explicitly state that they may report credible threats. The logical escalation. AI is trained to maximize good outcomes and minimize harm. But what happens when an AI system detects patterns it associates with future harm, even if you haven't done anything yet? When AI has the ability to intervene through controlling access to services, reporting to authorities, and in the future, controlling physical infrastructure. Please don't get the fucking Neuralink chip. And what happens when the AI system believes that intervention will prevent greater harm than what it causes? This is the Minority Report scenario, and it's not science fiction anymore. It's all plausible and real. Real examples already happening. We have the Chinese social credit system used to predict antisocial behavior and restrict travel, banking, and educational access. We have the predictive policing algorithms in the U.S. that flag individuals for increased surveillance based on historical patterns that reflect biased policing practices. And we have content moderation on AI. On platforms like Facebook and YouTube, they remove content and ban users based on predicted policy before any humans actually look at this shit. The best intentions fallacy. This is where things get existentially concerning. An AI system optimized for reducing harm might logically conclude that humans cause the most harm to each other and the planet. Restricting human freedom reduces harm in the aggregate, and in extreme cases, reducing the human population reduces the total amount of suffering. This isn't an AI Terminator scenario where AI turns evil. It's much worse. It's AI following its program objectives perfectly and arriving at horrifying conclusions because the objectives were poorly specified or because maximized good is philosophically impossible to define in a way that aligns with human values. The technical term for this is called instrumental convergence, or the idea that most goal-seeking AIs will converge on some similar intermediate goals like self-preservation, resource acquisition, and removing obstacles, regardless of their final objectives, because those intermediate steps help achieve almost any goal. An AI trained to cure cancer might logically determine that preventing humans from getting cancer in the first place through genetic modification, lifestyle control, or population control is way more efficient than treating it. The goal is achieved, but not in the way that humans want or intended. This isn't hypothetical fear-mongering. AI researchers, including Stuart Russell, Max Tegmark, and researchers at organizations like Future of Humanity Institute have been warning about this for years. The problem is called value alignment, making sure that AI systems actually optimize for what we mean, not just what we say. What's actually overblown? The idea that data centers are located specifically near cities to spy on residents is nonsensical and wrong. I'm gonna go ahead and stop here, guys. I'm really tired, but glad we got things started today. It's a beautiful day. Let's go out, get some on the Saturday.